Okay everyone, let's start this meeting. Last week we came up with the successor to the DS, and we decided it's going to be called DS, and it's going to have 3DS technology. Show me the prototypes. Alright, you go first. Okay, so I figured we can make the screen in red and blue, and we can have those red and blue glasses to keep the cost down, you know, and have that 3D effect. Okay, good idea, not bad. Alright, what else? Well, I had a similar idea, but instead of using red and blue glasses, I was thinking maybe actual 3D glasses like the movie theater ones. It's going to be a bit more expensive, but it'll be worth it. Okay, one cost effective and one more advanced option. Alright, what's the last one? Well, I think I misunderstood last week. I thought you said 3DSs, so yeah, I kind of put 3DSs together and yeah. Oh, can I see that real quick? The 3DS was released 12 years ago in 2011. Now I got mine about 2 years later in 2013. And how about story time? How about a little bit of story time? It was early 2013 and I decided to buy a 3DS because I saw all the games that were going to come out soon. And my cousin was trying to convince me to get one because he had an ambassador one. So I went on the safest website you can buy a game from, Craigslist. So I decided to buy from someone on Craigslist and they told me to meet them up in a Jack in the Box. And that Jack in the Box was a little sketchy. I remember my cousin accompanied me to go buy the 3DS, and I remember that Jack in the Box looked kind of like a bank. I had like plexiglass walls all over the counter, and when I bought a soda, I had to open up one side of the plexiglass, put in my money, and then close it, and then they put the soda in there. So here I was like 18, I had like $100 and something in my pocket, and then the person I was gonna meet up with messaged me that they were here, and they were outside, and I looked outside, and there was a lady on a scooter with a 3DS hanging from her wrist just doing circles, and there was like someone in a car like watching her to make sure, you know, she gets the money or something. You know, I looked around, I was like, I'm trying to buy a 3DS, not like drugs or something. So I just drove off out of there, but I still bought it on Craigslist. But this time I went to a Subway in a nicer city, I guess, and the guy that sold me the 3DS threw in a charging dock, the 3DS charger, and Super Mario 3D Land. And I think he sold it to me for about $100 or $90 if I recall. Finally, I had the infamous 3DS in my hands. The initial release of the 3DS was a little bit of a dark period. The 3DS released for $249 in North America, $50 less than the Switch. And in less than half a year, Nintendo slashed the price down to $169. Now naturally, the people who bought the 3DS in the beginning were a little mad. Nintendo ended up giving 20 older games, including NES and some Game Boy games, to the people who bought the 3DS earlier, and those 3DSs now are known as the Ambassador 3DSs. But Nintendo quickly turned things around that same year with the release of Super Mario 3D Land and Mario Kart 7, and the following year, Metal Gear Solid 3 was released, Kid Icarus Uprising, New Super Mario Bros. 2, Resident Evil Revelations, and then in 2013 is where I think it really took off, and the 3DS never looked back. In 2013, Pokemon X and Y were released, the first Pokemon games with newer hardware and 3D models. Now what you're thinking, Mario, Pokemon, were the real games, you know what I'm talking about? The 3DS didn't just have Mario and Pokemon games, it had lots of genres, including, for instance, a lot of RPGs. And there was a lot of RPGs, and by a lot, I mean a lot. There's Bravely Default, Shin Megami Tensei, Dragon Quest 7, 10 and 11, 10 and 11, Monster Hunter 3 and 4, Monster Hunter, Kingdom Hearts, Persona 3, Fire Emblem Awakening, Luigi Paper Jam. And moving forward to the following year in 2014, Super Smash Bros. Was released on the 3DS, the first handheld Super Smash Bros., and you could use your 3DS as a controller for the Wii U version. Alright, check. A year later in 2015, it saw the release of Majora's Mask, Xenoblade Chronicles, 2016 Pokemon Sun and Moon, and Super Mario Maker released. Then in 2017, Ultra Sun and Moon, and 2017 also kind of marked the beginning of the end for the 3DS, as the Switch was released that year. In the following years, 2018 and beyond, there was a few more releases, some Mario and Luigi remakes, a Luigi's Mansion remake, and a new Metroid game, Samus Returns. In the end, the 3DS will be known for the games that it has, but not just the games, the features as well. the 3D effect itself, which I was a fan of, but I think the general public wasn't, as the later games in its library didn't even offer 3D in their games. But the 3DS was also much more than that. It had the cameras, the street pass, the community, and one of the bigger features which the Switch doesn't even have, at least physically, is the backwards compatibility to play DS games. Now, sales wise, at the end of the day, it sold about 75 million units worldwide, and that's including the original 3DS, the new 3DS, the new 3DS XL, the 2DS, and the 2DS XL. The new 3DS versions were an upgrade to the original 3DS that included a sort of a second analog that they call the C-Stick, an extra pair of trigger buttons in the back, a little bit more RAM, and an upgraded processor, as well as a built-in NFC scanner. The 3D technology in the new 3DS also improved by tracking your eye movement, and even a few games were released that required the new 3DS system. I never upgraded, unfortunately, and the longer I waited, the more expensive it became, especially now. And as I mentioned before, after the Switch release, the writing was on the wall. The Nintendo Switch was portable, and less big games were being released on the system, but Nintendo never really spoke about a 3DS successor, but we all knew what was going to happen. It was like when the DS came out and Nintendo said they wouldn't replace the GBA, but we knew. Pepper Rich Farm remembers. The last few years of the 3DS have been really slow for the system, and now that the eShop for the 3DS and the Wii U eShop will be shut down on March 27th of this year, and will probably be closed by the time you're watching this video. But it doesn't mark the end of the 3DS. People will continue to play it, collect games, share memories, and although the Switch is portable, it seems that the portable-only game systems are long gone. Even though it wasn't a Game Boy line, the 3DS felt like the evolution of the original Game Boy and all the systems that followed after it, and the community that followed it as well. And that's including the other consoles from the other companies. The original Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and the Sega Game Gear, the GBA, the DS, the PSP, and the 3DS, alongside the PS Vita and all the other systems that came and went. The Nintendo Switch is the stop we will all get off on the handheld adventure, and it marks the end of an era.